time for Mortal Kombat, guys. And before that, please excuse the sirens. I don't know what is happening outside, but this is going on a little bit longer than I thought. Seriously, and it's not every day that I hear the sirens going off like that. And of course, let's continue on since we are talking about Mortal Kombat, and of course, since the movie promotes itself that it's gonna be the Johnny Cage movie, then you know what that means. It's time to pop up my sunglasses. These are the sunglasses that I have. And it's not exactly the Johnny Cage variety. See, although how long is it gonna be a while since I had this bad boy kind of look. And oh look, the sirens just finally stopped. But okay, so Mortal Kombat. Maybe you have seen my vlog on where do I stand with it. Is that I haven't played much of the video games, but I did watch the Let's Play of them. So I'm kind of like familiar with the lore behind it. And to refresh you a little bit, I did kind of like the movie from the 90s. Although there are some parts that doesn't hold up, but it's still a very cheesy, enjoyable kind of thing because of things for the casting. And of course, the actor who played Johnny Cage on that one was amazing. And of course, the more we forget about Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the better. There was also the animated series that I watched. The Mortal Kombat Conquest, but you get the idea. But the thing that we need to refresh a little bit more is the movie that came out years ago, which is basically gonna taking the Mortal Kombat thing and make its own lore, its own mythos and all that stuff. And for the most part, it did kind of work, but unfortunately, the movie was not exactly big bombastic. I mean, they got the idea right, but there was one thing that killed off the notion of the movie, and that is the character of Cole Young. Not disparaging the actor, mind you, but unfortunately, this is a kind of like a character that they wanted to become kind of like the audience proxy, but he comes up kind of like being so lame. And I'm not saying that that movies cannot make original characters to be blend into the IP, but they have to be written with some sort of sense of charisma or interest or something like that. And Cole Young was not. It's not like, for example, in Mortal Kombat Conquest, in which they also have some original characters, but some of them was kind of like laughable. Let's not forget, of course, that Mortal Kombat Conquest had Zero, the greatest Mortal Kombat character ever. I'll never forget that. This running gag is from this YouTuber named Phaelus, and when he made all these Mortal Kombat Conquest reviews, making fun of that character named Zero stuck in my head. But yeah, Zero is no Cole Young, and Cole Young was basically the bane of that movie, to the point that also there were some creative liberties that kind of raised my eyebrow, because they didn't want it to make its own thing, kind of deviating a little bit from the original mythos. Like, for example, how they write Cabal and Kano for the most part. So, but they have their liberty to make some creative liberty. It wasn't kind of like the worst thing. It's just Cole Young. What kind of ruined the whole movie for me, to the point that the more I thought about it, the movie kind of got worse and worse ever since. I didn't get my chance to rewatch it. It's just that it became kind of like forgettable in a way. so when the trailer came up and they really apparently Cole Young was not on the trailer, I was like, yay! Apparently they learned their lessons that Cole Young suck, and they're gonna focus more on Johnny Cage, which is technically kind of like the fan favorite of the Mortal Kombat characters. And well, here we are. The time has come. Apparently, this year is gonna be loaded of movies based on video games. I mean, well, Silent Hill, the Mario Galaxy, and now Mortal Kombat, and of course, there's still the Street Fighter movie that is coming. I mean, what's going on there? Oh well. So anyway, I just decided to watch it, and I was actually kind of crossing my fingers to see how they're gonna get rid of Cole Young. That was kind of like the biggest thing that I just wanted to see. But at the end of the day, this movie, Mortal Kombat 2, I gotta admit that it is an improvement compared from the last movie. Although storytelling wise, it's still rocky that it was just going through certain events, kind of like paint by the number kind of story, but it wasn't kind of like exactly that bad. But one of the things that actually made this movie a little bit more enjoyable is that unlike the other movie, this one actually takes place during the notorious tournament. It's just kind of like the basic premise. Of course, the Elder Gods have this tournament in which it's gonna decide the fate of the Earth between people that are gonna conquer the world, because it is another people from the outer world in which it's kind of strong people and other stuff, and of course the other realm, the Earth realm, which is where humans live. So they pick up champions to represent Earth realm versus the people from the outer world, and of course they have to fight for Mortal Kombat. It's basically a video game plot that you're gonna get it, and just like in the last movie, they're chosen, they get superpower, and well, that's all the whole enchilada. You get the good guys, of course, Sonya Blade, Jax, Liu Kang, Cole Young, he's still there, and of course the man of the hour, Johnny Cage. And of course, we got the bad guys, all led by this big emperor and all that, Shao Kahn. I'm just trying to give you them, trying to be a little bit easier on people who haven't watched, haven't an ounce of knowledge of Mortal Kombat. But this is gonna be hard because it's pretty clear that the movie was made for people who like the franchise, or at least watch the first movie, and of course they really tried to cram in the most characters that they tried to stuff into the movie. I mean, they revived Kane, who was killed in the last movie, but they crammed him in. There's also Shen Tsung. There's Princess Kitana, Jade. We don't get to that. The Noob Saibot was put in. Shao Kahn is there, and of course they put Scorpion. And so you might just and Baraka. Yeah, they had Baraka also there. So you might. And Kun Lao was also revived in this movie. So yeah, the cast this movie is pretty big. But I will say this: at least they give them a little bit something to do, a bit better compared to Mortal Kombat Annihilation, in which they even other characters that it was like, hey, I'm here, and then hey, I'm gone. They give them a little bit more to do. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sindel is also in this movie. Although not all of them kind of like fighting and all this stuff. As well, here's the question. Give you a sec. Sorry about that. A little bit of dust. So here's where the movie kind of becomes a little bit more like Mortal Kombat Deception. Yeah, you'll see the pun when I did this, because the trailers really showcase that Johnny Cage is going to be the main character of the movie, and well, he is kind of the main character, but the movie actually wanted to showcase the protagonism to Kitana, the princess of Edenia, and I this one I do have kind of like mixed feelings, because Kitana is not exactly kind of like the most popular of all the characters, uh, and honestly, every time we showcase her plot, she comes off kind of like this also like this by the number hearing, and sometimes, and of course there's kind of like her bond with Jade, or kind of like best friends and all this stuff, and truth to be told, this plot, the plot point, but as well as the actress. Not that she's not doing a bad job; she's actually doing really good. But her plot point comes off a little bit, well, kind of like boring in a way. She's kind of like not that boring, because there's still some flashy things, but let's say that she's kind of like the most uninteresting characters, when we got kind of like more larger than life characters that surround her, and this is where Johnny Cage comes out. Because here's the thing about Johnny Cage, why he's very popular, is because he smack talks everyone. He has this pompous attitude about all, that he is, because he also has kind of like the most interesting plot, a storyline that he has. He is basically a fish out of water character who he's just a washout actor who he's depressed. Almost nobody remembers him, and then he gets sucked into this world, and at first he's like, no, I can't, but he's forced into it, and of course he feels left out, because he doesn't know what his powers is, and well, he's trying to find some humility and some motivation to, well, to take the tournament more seriously. So in a way, yes. In terms of the two main characters that they wanted to establish, the Johnny Cage storyline is much more engaging than the one from Kitana, who is basically acting like a spy of Shao Kahn, because she wants to have her revenge, because in the previous tournament Shao Kahn killed her father, and yeah, that's basically it. Although maybe this is where a little bit they shoot themselves in the foot. How to make Kitana a more interesting character, because maybe they could have kept up a little bit more of the original thing. Like, for example, Kitana, being first loyal to Shao Kahn, like in the games, but then she discovers that the wrongdoings, and of course she still has that grudge against him, and then this is why you shouldn't have introduced Mileena in the last movie, because Mileena is supposed to be the clone of Kitana, which kind of proves Shao Kahn's devilry, his bad deeds, and how he is basically doing something horrible for her. In which this is kind of like the moment in which Kitana said, "Now I'm going against you." But in this one, of course, because they kill off Mileena in the last movie, mind you that the movie kind of had this excuse that you can resurrect all these characters and as kind of like a zombie, by the necromancy of Quan Chi. So that's kind of like what happens in this one. As for, well, the other characters also do their kind of like their job, I'll say. Again, and not only Johnny Cage, it's kind of like some of the most amusing parts of the acting. They also get to revive Kano, who, granted, in the last movie he was also kind of like the character who has kind of like the most larger than life personality. Even though in the games, he is like that. Although, it's still the movie wants to insist saying that it can be one of the good guys, even though he is clearly supposed to be a bad guy. Although it's not just to him, they also did that to Baraka. Although, to be fair, Baraka was kind of like a neutral, bad, chaotic kind of character in the games. Although in this one, they made him, still the character that we know. Although I feel that maybe they should have made the actor, an imitator, that's really kind of voice acting on him. Which kind of reminds me that I still kind of find the actor who plays Raiden a little bit miscast, or a little bit trying too hard by, always talking like this. I'm trying a little bit too hard from taking the charisma from the previous guy who played Raiden. Although, to be fair, he's trying his own thing, and well, we don't want to get imitators or trying too hard to imitate him. He's just trying his own thing. So it is there. What else? What else I can say about some of the act? I can't say much about the acting because they're all doing their job as video game characters, in which they simply and not much of them. There is kind of like an arc between all these characters. Okay, I'll reveal one thing, in which is the big elephant in the room. Yes, they do get rid of Cole Young. Not immediately, and he still... Apparently, they kind of was aware that this character was so uninteresting, and he's just like there. He's like, all right, I made my peace with my wife and children. I'm the descendant of Hanzo, who is also Scorpion, all this stuff. And even his fight against Shao Kahn was unamusing, I'll say. It was just in my head saying that, okay, well, when he's gonna die, and they got rid of him. They got rid of him. And I don't know if I can say it was unceremoniously or not, but apparently this is basically a way to have the director say, "Oh, you don't like Cole Young? Okay, fine, I'm gonna get rid of him." Oh man, again, I'm not against the actor. It's the way the character was made, because he was pretty boring in the last movie. Oh jeez. Okay, with this I'm gonna go with the cinematography. That it is that this movie really is in love with the special effects. It has a lot of special effects. You're gonna see a lot of thunder, a lot of flash dances, CG, some CGI, but you can tell that the actors are doing their best, with the choreography. And I think that this is where the movie really becomes the eye candy of the movie, in which I will say, despite that the movie is long and all this stuff, I'm gonna admit that I wasn't bored. I was just turning off my brain and enjoying the fight. And you know what? That's the point. That's probably the point of those fighting game movies. You can't have a little bit of plot and not exactly they have. And I think they did a decent job. a decent job. I'm just kind of criticizing, in this perspective of a movie. And well, again, it is mostly when we get back to Johnny Cage, or sometimes with Kano, when things get much more fun, unlike all the other things. Although I gotta agree with some people that there was an awesome scene, which is the fight between Liu Kang and Kung Lao. That shows some great fighting choreography. And well, of course the set designs, I really like that how they have a lot of the Mortal Kombat references, like the acid pit, the portal, and most of them are based on Mortal Kombat too. Why they're there? Because of the game. So they are. Is a video game movie that is aware that it's a video game movie. It has all the techno beats also in the music. That's pretty much the whole thing. Honestly, the more I try to deconstruct this movie, it's kind of a little bit getting hard to myself to describe it. It's just kind of like this. It going from this point to another, and at first it goes with the tournament, and then of course we get we reach the point in which they have in which Shinnok's amulet it comes into the picture, in which it gives Shao Kahn immortality, and then the characters have to take a detour in order to what was it? Go through the Tarkata nomads where Baraka is, in which Baraka kind of gets like this weird friendship with Johnny Cage, and then of course things that I'm not gonna spoil enough. It happens, in which it leads to kind of like a two final battles, in which involves Shao Kahn and Noob Saibot. Although they don't call him Noob Saibot, we all know that it's Bihan resurrected. The elder Sub-Zero, who he was killed in the last movie, but then he resurrects as Noob Saibot. And I did say that writing wise, it just escalated from here, like a very video gamey plot, in which it wanted us to believe a lot that Kitana is the main character, and she kinda is, but the trailers really made us believe that Johnny Cage is the main character, and he shows to have kind of like the better plot than Kitana herself. And then of course each one has their own thing. We didn't get also the Kano thing always confused me, is that they still want to harp in to try to make him one of the good guys when he's supposed to be the bad guy. I already said that, and even and you know that the ending really have this kind of like this moment in which, well, here we go, time for Mortal Kombat 3. And you know what? This time I will be a little bit more open to Mortal Kombat 3 for the most part, because we got rid of Cole Young. okay, maybe you know what? Maybe I'm being cruel to Cole Young. Maybe it's not fair. Maybe that's not fair. I think that's already talked about the whole thing. I think that the Mortal Kombat 2, in terms of compared to the last one, it is an improvement on the that it really allows you to turn your brain off and just enjoy the fight, and it did kind of like fixes a little bit some of the stuff, although some of the mistakes from the last one still kind of lingers a little bit, like a sword samba in terms of the lore, but at least it kind of straightens things out a little bit in order to, well, to make it decent enough for to satisfy Mortal Kombat fans. So I will say that of all the Mortal Kombat movies, this one comes up better. Better as a kind of like one of those rare occasions in which the sequel comes up a little bit better than the first one. It's not gonna top kind of like the 90s Paul W. Henderson film that came out. This one still has kind of like the cheesy factor, but of course that. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that about the fatalities, in which yes, it has their fatalities, and they really are bloody. Although I kind of wish that they linger a little bit more, or also I wish they could be a little bit more goofier over the top. There's some over the top, but I kind of wonder if they could be a little bit more goofier in terms, or even more disgusting. Although I think that some people might find it so disgusting to the point that I had a couple next to me, and just when the first fatality happened, they were gone. They just left the theater. I don't know, by disgust or something like that, but it happened. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 2. It's not a flawless victory, but it's a little bit flawed. But well, it did a little bit better than the first one. That's technically what I can say.